Once upon a time, there was Dying Light, an extraordinarily impressive game released on last-gen consoles that will go down in history as my absolute favorite zombie game of all time. It's got a pretty compelling storyline with a few cracks here and there, amazing parkour mechanics that I have yet to see in a game of its genre, and best of all, plenty of loot and enemies to discover in the infested streets of Haran. You can imagine how excited I was to hear that a sequel for Dying Light was underway. With the massive success of their first game, Techland demonstrated they can not only design an open-world co-op looter shooter, but they are pretty damn good at doing so. The first game was the topic of discussion for my last video, so just in case you missed it, go ahead and give it a watch. Or don't, and risk injury. I'm kidding, but in all seriousness, it's a masterpiece of a zombie game with its story and gameplay. It seemed way ahead of its time. So that begs the question, how is the sequel to this outstanding one-of-a-kind gem?
But first, I have to see Frank. You saw him. He's barely holding it together.
I don't care about Frank. No, I'm not doing any of that. I'm not asking about Ro or Frank or Matt. I'm not doing it. Okay. I don't give a single fuck. Boy, does this one stink. I've talked previously about Dying Light 2, and I noticed a lot more flaws than I had wanted to. During my last gameplay session with Brian, the game was bugged often and demonstrated a lot of frustrating mechanics that I didn't agree with. I have lots to cover with this game, so it's only fair that I begin with what I truly love about Dying Light 2. It's a short list, so bear with me as I try not to demolish the game into pieces with my criticism. Believe it or not, I'm going against the wind with this opinion, but I think the parkour in Dying Light 2 is much more intuitive than the first game. It feels smoother and faster to climb scalable buildings and walls. To add to the stress, you can't hang on to surfaces for too long, otherwise you'll run out of stamina and fall. While I hated this mechanic at first, I eventually grew to accept it and thought of it as an interesting obstacle to the player. The nighttime gameplay isn't nearly as scary as it used to be, but it's neat with a mechanic that slowly drains your immunity whenever the sun goes down. If you run out of time, your immunity will deplete and you'll become infected. In order to recharge your immunity, you'll have to collect these weird inhaler things or walk towards UV lights. Immunity can be improved by finding inhibitors, which are essentially stims that upgrade your health, stamina, so on and so forth. They're rare, but can be found during the night when roaming into an abandoned dark zone. Aiden Caldwell, your main character, can be fully customized with an outfit of your choosing, each clothing item not only changing your cosmetic appearance, but offering some light benefits to your attributes. Of course, there are a lot of repeated clothing items that you're gonna find, but it's still cool that you can change every single category. One thing that I fucking love is that there's a block mechanic. Holy shit, something I thought the first game lacked heavily, and now they've made up for it. You can parry enemy attacks and perform cool special moves to break up the monotony, like this epic head crush ability that I found out I could do. Holy shit, that's awesome. Lockpicking in this game feels much better in my opinion. The sweet G-spot inside those locks is far easier to detect than before. Not sure if it's true, but the strength of the lockpick itself is outstanding and doesn't make me feel as stupid for not figuring out how to open whatever it is. You get a fucking paraglider, which helps traverse more open cities and areas while slowly descending to the ground. It consumes stamina, but as long as you ride past the air vents littered beneath you, your stamina will refill instantly and give you another boost high in the air. It actually feels dope as fuck to be this high. In a video game, of course. You know what else is kinda cool? You can kill nameless nobodies and suffer no penalties. You know those annoying wimpy survivors you have to rescue in Dying Light 1? Well, you don't have to save them anymore. Sometimes you can find a random person on a rooftop minding their own business and just swipe at them. They'll pretty much die instantly. It's hilarious, and when I first discovered it, I was in shock. Do you know how rare it is to find a modern game where you can basically kill anybody that isn't Grand Theft Auto? Not that you have to, but it's nice to know that it's an option. It makes the game feel way more realistic. We're running out of good things to talk about, but don't fret. The answer to all of your questions and more will be revealed by the end of the video. The loot is much more diverse than last time around. Most of the time, you find scrap inside of every container, but using the survivor sensibility makes the game much easier by highlighting the physical outlines of searchable items. Things like bags, lockers, trunks, and even vehicles will be visible through the wall if they've been untouched. The weapon compendium is vast and offers a variety of different ways to bludgeon your enemies. Blueprints have been altered a bit, so whenever you find one, you have to go to the the craftmaster to buy the weapon itself. You must also spend money to upgrade said blueprints along with any resources the craftmaster requires. Kind of a bummer you can't just build the weapon in your inventory at any time like in the first game, but personally I guess it's no big deal. It's different, but it's not horrible. And I swear to God I'm not making this up. It feels so much better to fight human enemies in this game than it does in the first. They mostly look the same, but fighting them is fucking hilarious. Even daunting at times. You'll have to take extra care and precaution when in combat. Speaking of the combat, I unfortunately don't have the dropkick unlocked. However, I do have this really sweet move that allows you to grapple an incoming enemy and send them flying into whatever direction you wish. I was enjoying it so much that I fucked with a couple of zombies for like 10 minutes. It's probably the most fun move in the whole game. Oh, I fucking love it. Holy shit, I didn't think I would actually like that. Off the turnbuckle! No! Over the... Okay, that was really anticlimactic. Ooh, broke the arm. And he goes all the way around too. Can't go under? You can't crawl like this? Oh, no, you gotta come back. Dude, this fucking zombie, just don't give up. Oh no. Oh, he's alive? Oh. Oh my God, I thought that killed him. Oh shit, it's nighttime. Hurry up, I gotta go home. Oh my God, why am I having so much fun? It's like all of a sudden the game's good. Oh, clear throw. Unhand me. Come on, who's it gonna be? Oh, it's you. Oh. Fucking smacking their faces off it. Are you kidding me? Volatiles are incredibly difficult here, and it's not recommended to hunt them down. I managed to get one stuck and killed it, but I was very lucky to do so as a horde had cornered me in the room not even a few seconds later. So all in all, I am enjoying this a lot more than the first day I had played. There seems to be lots of improvements to the overall game itself, and the quality is less buggy, but that's about it. It pains me to say this, and I'm sure many of you will disagree, but Dying Light 2, despite the improvements, is still a bad game. Why do I say this? A plethora of reasons, if I'm being honest. The updates that have been brought to the game aren't enough to keep me invested in its very dull, boring, and confusing campaign. For the main story, we have Aiden, a pilgrim who made his way to the bazaar in search of his lost sister Mia. The two of them were part of a mysterious experiment as children and eventually separated by a man known only as Waltz. Aiden is on a mission to help the people located in the bazaar in exchange for finding his sister. Along the way, he meets Hakon and Lawan, who aid him in his ever-long quest. Lawan is played by none other than Halle Berry herself. Normally, I'm all for a great cameo from a fantastic actress, but Lawan fucking sucks. She suffers the same fate as Jade from the first game and doesn't have much to offer to Aiden other than, you guessed it, insults.
You see that, Aiden? You see that? It's beautiful. Oh, I can't believe it. No, I just can't believe it.
Oh my God.
It's an old paraglider. It'll help you get to places you normally can't reach. Just follow me.
Wait. Fuck.
There she goes again.
Okay, from here it's not far. Go there and act.
Oh my.
You're a big boy.
Oh yeah,
You'll
of course.
figure it out.
Of course.
Run! He's transforming!
Mia, did you know a girl named Mia?
Mia? No. Who's Mia?
She's my sister. We were in a GRE place together. I have to find her.
Well, if she's alive, she must be pouring herself with water somewhere in the city.
What?
Not that I'd blame her.
What are you saying? Fuck you!
Whoa, Gajo. Sign of the times, the world we live in. Just saying.
I need to say this. That whole segment was fucking boring. So this main bad guy, Waltz, he's a volatile, but he didn't change in appearance. in any way, shape, or form. There's a lot to dissect here. So let me just go through my biggest issues with this whole segment. 1, Waltz didn't look any different, so he's not that scary as a main villain. 2, I don't really give a fuck about Aiden or his sister. 3, why did Lawan insist that we get the fuck out of there and then slam the door in our faces every single time I was trying to get out of there? If they were trying to like scare me and add more pressure to my shoulders, it didn't work. I was just annoyed. Oh, and big shock, she's gone again.
Hell, she's fast.
Yeah, you know why? Because the game doesn't want you to have friends. The game doesn't want you to have help. So fuck you. Fuck you, you're on your own. Every 5 to 10 seconds, she's doubting you and making you feel small. And you expect me to care about this character? She doesn't even fight physically alongside Aiden at all. It's also hard to root for your cameo side character when she runs ahead of you at all times and slams the door in your fucking face, forcing you to have to open it. God, why is this a thing? Another issue I have against the main storyline is the repetition of mission objectives. Majority of the story and side missions feature one particular type of obstacle for you to overcome, one right after the other. For example, I was tasked with saving these peacekeepers from the renegade bandits, but it's a rinse and repeat formula. Clear one floor, untie a guard, go upstairs, rinse and repeat. That's the entire fucking mission. Same issue as before, all you have to do is run away from Waltz. Can't fight him, so don't even try. Then Lawan slams a door behind her, forcing you to have to open it up and keep running. Sounds like an epic game, right? Well, how about this nonsense, smart guy? Why can't I repair my weapons? In Dying Light, you can collect metal parts anywhere in the environment. Using these will allow you to repair any melee weapon of your choosing, but only a limited amount of times. Here, there is no such thing as fixing your weapon. Once it breaks, it's fucking broken. What moron decided to remove this mechanic? This means even if I find an ultra rare weapon to use, I can't expect to hold onto it for a long duration of time. Climbing in this game is a complete joke, as there are multiple surfaces you'd think you would be able to climb, but often I get tricked and fall 10,000 feet to my death because of it. Come on, I can't grab this stupid fucking ladder? I feel like a brain-dead circus monkey. Dark zones are an optional side mission that you can take on during the night for an easier encounter with the infected inside. You'll find loot, inhibitors, and all sorts of stuff for Aiden in these buildings. The problem is that every single building, regardless of the objective, is a goddamn maze. I hate this so much, and I even complained about it in my last video for the first game. It's downright unrealistic. You're telling me that we have to constantly navigate our way through this dungeon of a place like a blind gerbil in a hedge garden? That's how every building feels. It's never just a straightforward linear path. You always have to be fucking finding ways around locked doors and shit. There are way too many locked doors that can only be opened from one side, and it takes me out of the game heavily. Confusingly, the puzzles are brain twisters at times and make me feel stupid when I spend a half hour trying to solve the damn thing. When the game was first sponsored, they introduced the idea of the player's choices altering the outcome of the game by choosing who you side with along your journey. The problem is that there isn't a single community to care about here. The people at the bazaar are all heartless, brainless NPCs, the peacekeepers are fucking annoying, and the renegades, sadly, are the best part of the whole thing. Nothing is as funny or fun as fighting these complete bozos. Even though they're tough and kicked my ass a lot, they're very well programmed and offer a fair challenge, unlike Rise's lackeys. But the combo moves suffer terribly with accuracy inconsistencies. When you vault over a dazed enemy, you're supposed to be able to kick them to fucking Sparta, but it often doesn't work for me. Same with the grappling move. At some moments it pops up at all times on an enemy, but other times it doesn't appear at all, allowing the douchebag to hit me across the face. It's confusing. Dodging is weird and improperly timed, making for an unfair disadvantage to the player. You can't loot every single body of downed enemies, which is just so stupid and lazy. Only certain ones can be looted for what they have, and it's almost never worth it. Unless you're hunting the stronger and deadlier special infected like the Revenant, but there's no strategy there. Just swing at him and chase after him when he runs away. That's it. And avoid the other hundreds of zombies that are coming after you. And how crazy is it that they removed firearms from the universe? Disappointing, considering the first game's gunplay could have had lots of updates and attention put into it. I'm not necessarily angry that they've removed guns, but it does seem a little silly. Why get rid of one of the core features of the game like that? They must have looked at the guns from Dying Light 1 and said, fuck it, it's too hard, because then the game wouldn't feel punishing enough, I guess. Kyle Crane has the ability to vault over zombies that try to charge directly into him. Aiden does not, and it often results in some bullshit moments when I'm trying to jump over a zombie and I get locked in a QTE. This specific thing happens to me so much that it drives me crazy. Why can't I bypass the zombies a little easier? Do I have to stick to the fucking rooftops and use the paraglider the whole time? Whereas in the first game, running fast and doing parkour around the threat is satisfying because there are multiple ways to get to your desired location. Different walls can be scaled and many buildings are placed so close together that the mechanics feel a lot smoother. Traveling isn't an issue there. In Dying Light 2, most of the time, there are no explorative strategies. It's very bare bones and forces you through linear obstacle courses in order to get to your objective, or whatever the fuck you're trying to do. Although I enjoy the realism of the climbing stamina, it often hurts the player more than benefits them. Sometimes I feel there are places that are impossible to reach due to involving so much climbing, and Aiden can only do that for a few seconds before becoming exhausted. I don't mean to tread on this topic so much, but the exploration does feel lazy. Every room is basically the same, with a few zombies placed here and there to mix up the equation. After all this time, I had hoped there would be a bit more effort in the Infected since the first gameplay was really effective with its combat, but here, you don't really see anything different. The slow zombies and virals look exactly the same every time with slight variation changes. At least in the first game, the zombies wore different clothes, but almost every zombie I killed in the sequel felt, acted, looked, and performed the same fucking way. It's disappointing. Nighttime gameplay isn't nearly as scary as it was before. The game gives you multiple ways to escape your prey, but half the time you don't need them. Just run in one continuous line, get to higher ground, and they'll more than likely lose you in the pursuit. I may have killed a volatile, but that's because he got stuck. Try fighting them one-on-one, and it's impossible. Aiden himself isn't much of a likable character because he doesn't do anything different from the last protagonist, Kyle Crane. In fact, I've made this comment multiple times, but he sounds and acts just like the guy. There is no difference between Aiden and Kyle, which only leads me to believe they didn't want to leave Crane's legacy in the dust after the following ending. Look, I'm all for rooting for Kyle Crane, but why didn't you just bring him back or alter the timeline if you were going to make a carbon copy of him anyways? Aiden's voice actor sounds eerily similar to him, and I don't know why they chose to do it that way. He's not that interesting, so it comes off as forced. One major flaw I have with the first game is the fact that there are lots of people who offer you side quests, but they treat you like garbage in the process. I'm not necessarily a fan of games where you're doing favors for a couple of incompetent assholes, but majority of the missions in the first are still fun and entertaining despite this. Dying Light 2 doesn't want you to give a single fuck about anyone you meet, and that becomes apparent when they start introducing new characters every 10 fucking minutes. Except none of them are cool or funny, they literally just make me upset. Half of them insult Aiden to his face, including Lawan, who isn't even a good enough character to earn that right. Why do so many people treat Aiden like fucking dirt? He's the only one going out of his way to help, and he's constantly put into the center of arguments and ridicule whenever something goes wrong. If you wanted me to hate the main character, you could demonstrate a series of events that would make sense for that, but nope, Aiden just comes to the city and gets pooped on like a metal railing, just for existing. I hate the idea of buying your blueprint weapons and having to spend money on them. Yeah, I know I said that earlier this wasn't a big deal, but it's pretty fucking stupid. If I found the fucking blueprint somewhere in the world, I should therefore be able to build the weapon at any time. But no, you have to go to the craftmaster, and you have to spend valuable resources and money. What a joke. The paraglider is fun, but it drains stamina over time as you use it. Fly around too long and Aiden will fall, plummeting to the ground. My question is, why the fuck would stamina be a factor for paragliding? I've never gone myself in real life. I understand it probably takes a lot of physical exertion to get a real paraglider working, but this just feels like another lazy excuse to punish the player some more. Shouldn't the wind direction and flying debris be a more common threat than, oh, I don't know, my fucking stamina? You can collect inhibitors to upgrade your health or stamina, but each new level feels the same. Doesn't matter how much you upgrade health because enemies do ridiculous amounts of damage to you anyway. No point in upgrading stamina because the changes feel small and don't increase my potential to keep playing. Finding the damn inhibitors is a wreckfest because you can only raid the night stores when the sun is down. Otherwise you're fucked and you'll get swarmed by volatiles. And with each build building being a giant maze all the time, it just adds to the frustration. I do enjoy finding loot at certain locations like convoys, which have a few locked vehicles with goodies inside, but even this gets repetitive when you realize that there isn't much to do outside of the main story. Sure, you get broken and ridiculously mundane parkour challenges, but besides that, it's very straightforward. Clear the area, search the important stuff, copy and paste. The UI is really bad. How come when I'm using an Xbox controller on my PC, I'm still forced to use this fucking cursor thing? Shouldn't it just act like a normal controller? You can't even navigate the pause menu with the D-pad. You have to use the thumbstick and slowly move it around the screen. It is intentionally designed to waste my time and piss me off. And is it just me, or are the points for leveling up not enough? Each time I encountered something dangerous or completed a hard side quest, the experience I got from both aren't nearly enough to earn an upgrade point, so it becomes an effortless grind. The first game has this issue as well, and if you've never played it before, chances are you're not going to enjoy it until you get Kyle Crane to where you'd like him. But Aiden's progression is much slower, taking me out of the game and putting me in a bad fucking mood. I want to go back to the decision making again. Often when you're introduced to a new character, you're given the option to discuss other things with them. It's pointless and doesn't serve to push the story along in any way, often just making people angry with you. You're better off cutting to the fucking chase and saving yourself the struggle of listening to pointless dialogue all the time. Like this guy, Frank, who gets so drunk and talks to his invisible friend for whatever reason, I don't know, treats Aiden like shit, and yeah. This has to be the dumbest fucking scene I've ever seen in my life. What is this? Who are these people?
You and Lawan can get the fuck out of my face now. I got more important things in my mind.
Thanks for treating me like shit, again, for no fucking reason. Oh, man, it's such a fucking repetitive theme.
Would have worked if that fucker had showed up at the TV station. Fucking traitor.
This fucking scumbag idiot talks to himself. Why do I care about him? Why would I like him?
You're giving me a fucking headache.
He's not even looking at me, man.
Frank,
Fuck off, kid.
Lawan, it seems well.
What was the point of that? What was the point of pressing him?
That Frank's dead. Yes, we can leave the job thing inside. But cheers, no.
Of course, I'll go by myself, Lawan. Yes, of course, I'll go by myself. By the way, take a shot every time your companions leave you to do all the dirty work. You'll be fucking drunk in an hour. Lawan especially loves to make Aiden go through hell all by himself, and after doing 4 missions with her, I can conclude she doesn't assist you once. And now, suddenly, I'm saying goodbye to her as if I was supposed to care about her? No thanks, Techland. I don't like pointless badass female leads unless they have a realistic drive and a great personality. The survivor NPCs that you'll find throughout the world are so fucking weird. They don't say anything realistic, and often when they say anything at all, it makes no sense given the context.
Never seen anything like that. Anyone else? We're in danger. No. Is that? What's that? I must be seeing things.
Every trader you visit is lifeless, making me question why they incorporated voice lines for them if they were just gonna stand there and look like a mannequin. There's no lip syncing.
What the heck? Why not?
These traders suck, and all seem the same. The main bad guy, Waltz, don't care about him. He's as effective as Rise with his long-winded speeches about hierarchy and controlling humanity with enough power. Except Waltz is worse because he's even more vague, and I'm not the slightest bit afraid of him. The devs told everyone they'd have the option of choosing what side to go with during the course of the story, altering your endgame results and reputation. But the only real choice you get is deciding who to aid with certain perks for Aiden that differ between the two factions. For example, I can give this place to the Peacekeepers and unlock car bombs, or I could give it to the survivors and unlock jump pads scattered throughout the city. That's it. There's no repercussions or cutscenes that show how your decisions change the outcome. A minute ago, I was talking to these fucking idiots outside when we were interrupted by renegades. After I completed the mission and secured the building, there wasn't any conversation afterwards where they seemed upset at me for choosing the survivors over them. 2 seconds ago, they were begging me to give this place to the fucking Peacekeepers, and now nothing. It's like it didn't even happen, so what's the point in letting me choose? I'm disappointed because after seeing the official Dying Light 2 Facebook page updates for so long, I thought there would be way more here to dissect. but there isn't. The simple fact is, I feel like they were rushed into completing this train wreck and didn't bother to play the first game as a reminder that they can, in fact, develop great titles. This feels like someone's genuine attempt to recapture the emotions and grit of the original, but it doesn't work that way. It's a copy-paste job with less and less put into it that I happen to notice every time I launch it up. It's clunky, it's a mess, and the combat is downright frustrating. For fuck's sakes, I shot these bandits in the head 4 times before they finally went down. I thought a bow and arrow would be pretty effective once it struck their skulls. But this game doesn't believe in headshots. They don't work. I do enjoy the gore levels, and even managed to break a zombie's jaw as he continued to come after me. Oh, fuck! Wait a minute, time out! Oh my fucking god! Oh my god, I broke his fucking jaw! Oh, Jesus Christ, I didn't even know I could do that! Holy fuck! Freaky stuff like that is cool to see, but not when the combat overall is dog shit. You can't block zombie attacks for whatever reason, and the only way you can kick is if you are blocking. If you don't time the block perfectly, you're taking a lot of damage and getting punished for your crimes. The window for parrying an attack is so small that it'll frustrate the shit out of you when renegade bandits cling to you like a fucking magnet and get a cheap shot on you. But I'm hitting them 1,000 times in the face with a machete and they're fine? Come on, man. So yeah, love it or hate it, that's really all I have to say for Dying Light 2. Don't get me wrong, it's kind of fun, and at a lot of times I found myself having too much fun. But the fun quickly fades into oblivion once you acknowledge that you have no freedom of choice and you realize you're doing the exact same thing on repeat like 14 times in a row. Having to endure the awful dialogue is such an obstacle when it doesn't need to be. I want characters that I can relate to and grow to like. Someone that we actually want to protect from harm. But the only fucking person in this game who comes remotely close to that is Hakone, and he betrays you. I don't care about Aiden, and once your main character becomes as dull as a kitchen knife in Dead Island, you know we have a major malfunction. And it's not like Aiden did anything wrong, he came here to search for his lost sister. Shouldn't he get a fucking break from the negative Nancys that fill this lifeless and cold world? That's really all I can say, guys. Dying Light 2 might have been pretty fun for me to dive back into, but I'm certainly not gonna beat it. I don't care enough about any of the characters because we weren't given a reason to. They all have fucked up names too. Lawan, Barney, Jackmat, Ator, Nitaf, Aglot, fucking Aglot. If you're a diehard fan of the Dying Light sequel, I don't know what you're seeing that I don't. That doesn't mean I can't see the potential in there. It is an open world game filled with loot and zombies, so I guess if that's your cup of tea, drink swiftly and passionately. Just don't stick any tea in my face, otherwise I'll throw it against the fucking wall. At least when it comes to Dying Light 2. It's boring for me, which sucks because I genuinely wanted to give it a chance. This is the first time in my life that I've bought a AAA title and didn't finish the game. I'm hopeful that maybe in the future we will see a Dying Light 3 with much more emphasis on what made the first game so great, but I wouldn't hold my breath. Techland seems to be extremely proud of themselves for this one with the way they brag about it on Facebook, so I don't know. If there is gold somewhere inside, I have yet to see it. My survivor sense feels weakened in reality, and it's all thanks to this miserable pile of cow shit. Thanks for watching, guys. Tune in next time when I talk about the strangest game I own. It's not what you'd expect. I'll see you next time. Hey, I've heard about you. You're Aiden. I fucking hate your guts. But can you do me a favor?